Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Dearest Mother and Dad. Love, Ruth, John, Mark, Pamela, and Patricia. Ruth Smallshaw Ray's Letters to Her Parents, 1960, Part 121. 602 Huntmere Drive, Bay Village, Ohio, March 18, 1960. Dear folks, I feel as though I'm on a vacation. It's only 7 o'clock p.m. and I finished supper in bed and watching TV. John has taken the children to a banquet, the Big Brothers, so they'll be sitting at the head table with their daddy. We've been battling colds all week. Mark threw up several times, had a bad cough and earache. The girls, too, had coughs, so we didn't really think they'd be well enough to go. And John only planned on Mark and Pamela. But Patty really takes care of herself. She put up such a fuss about Pam wearing a dress, and she wanted to get dressed and go too. She made such a fuss that John said she's so cute and decided to take her. Mark was chagrined, for he'd felt she'd be too much trouble, and he sort of likes to have these father-son affairs to himself. The girls did look cute in their red dresses and white pinafores. So it's a vacation for me. I could have gone too, but I'm tired. My sinuses are plugged. John seems quite proud of his children. We finally got the house ready last Sunday and got our sign out and putting it in the newspaper this weekend. The basement looks lovely. John did a fine paint job, and we have the yard furniture down there, so it looks very nice. Tuesday, Mark and John have the Indian guides down there. 10 fathers and 10 sons. John's folks were over to Dick and Joan's Sunday for dinner and here after for bridge. They offered to take their vacation when I have the baby and come over and look after the children and move us while I'm in the hospital. So they're taking their vacation the last 2 weeks in May and both coming over when the baby comes until I come home from the hospital. It certainly is most generous of them. Not many would even consider offering their vacation like that. John took some slides of the house. The reprints should be ready next week, so we'll send you some. Kent Myers and his wife are moving to a new apartment and bought $3,000 worth of carpeting for it. They've offered us their 2 love seats, which originally cost $600, so we're pleased with that. Kent asked me to dance at the Pike Lake Trout Club, Kent Myers, John's partner, to tell me so many nice things about John. He said he was a little doubtful about John when he and Dick Stevens went into practice together. John was young and he didn't know about him. He says he's so proud of John now, that John's a fine lawyer and really proved himself. He also was pleased about the Distinguished Service Award and just couldn't say enough nice things about John. He said he couldn't tell John himself. He said he couldn't tell John himself, but knew that there was a good rapport between John and I could convey the idea. We had a wonderful dinner. Shrimp hors d'oeuvres and a big platter of fancy canapes, including caviar, first, and then we went to another log cabin for dinner. It was all in a very picturesque setting down near Chagrin Falls with the snow on the trees. We had to go over a footbridge with pretty little falls going under. It was like a Disneyland scene. The 2 colored waiters wore red jackets and one played the piano. We went over another footbridge over the Trout Lake and in the second log cabin with a roaring fire and had dinner. We had shrimp cocktail, filet mignon, the works, a wonderful dinner, even liqueurs, creme de menthe. I overate, I guess, and lost it all when we got home, but enjoyed eating it, and it was a different experience. Being married to John leads us to all sorts of interesting facets of life. There were about 18 people there, the new corporation. Tomorrow night we're invited to a bridge party here in Bay Village, and next week some people who will be our new neighbors are having a party. John knows the father very well, and he's helped John financially with the junior museum, and his son is on the board and his wife is on the women's board that I'm on. The father has a big house on Lake Erie across the street and down from where we'll live, and the son, John Whites, lives in the next house. Ann Whites said she'd hoped we'd move in. They have 3 children, so she phoned to say she was happy we'd be their neighbors and having some more of the trustees over to get to know one another better. John has several nice friends who have all hoped we'd buy a house near them, which is very nice. Dick Stevens, too, is pleased with the house and says it's a good house. It was obviously built by the same builder as theirs, but he says it's an even better house than theirs. The location is better. It won't be as convenient as these modern split levels, but will be a nice family home, a little like the Parrott's old home. The TGV program just came on, starring Bob Mathias. He's the Olympic decathlon winner that sat in front of us during the Olympics in Australia in 1956. John's Church Federation meeting had a church service first at the Old Stone Church at noon today. Last week I had my Sunday school teachers conference with the director, and she asked the minister to sit in on it. After about an hour, when he left, she thanked me and gave me a big hug and said he couldn't have picked a better teacher to have him sit in on the conference. The custodian said, "There is a conscientious teacher. She must be Scotch or English." I don't think I'll do it next year, as it's quite a strain trying to get all ready on Sunday. John did it on his own again last week and said it was a good class. Jesus healing the paralytic. This Sunday we'll do the church furnishings and symbols again. We've taken equal number of turns, but we're supposed to go together as teacher observer team. With the kiddies sick so much, it's hard to get all well, so we've only been a few times together. Mark's report card was 4 A's and 2 B's. He's been absent 38 days and there 53 days. Tonight they're supposed to go on an Indian guide overnight camp, but John plans to take Mark early in the morning for breakfast instead. Yes, Mark is an intelligent little boy. He now reads the notes I send the teacher, and I've heard him talk to Pamela about details and variations. Did I tell you, he asked, whatever happened to the old-fashioned way of having babies, where the stork brings them? Good night. Love, Ruth. P.S. The minister seemed more impressed with the fact that we were having our 4th child than anything else. 602 Huntmere Drive, Bay Village, Ohio, April 4th, 1960. Dear Mother, thank you for the little prayer bookmark. It was just what I needed. The prayer, for my morale has been very low. I have been very ill again, the sickest that I have been since we've been married, John said, and I really felt close to the edge, and the worst part was that I didn't really care. John said he was praying for me, and was I praying for myself, but I wasn't, because I felt they might be better off without me. I thought I just had a cold and kept going, but I either had another flu attack or else was vulnerable from the January bout, but it went back into that awful cough, and for about 16 nights I couldn't lie down to sleep and coughed up most of my meals. Dr. Taylor took my temperature and had the clinic chest man look at me, and I'm still on these 2 powerful antibiotics which leave me very weak. I'm still coughing, but not as bad. John has been so good coming home early and fixing meals and getting breakfast, and the neighbors have taken turns having Pam for lunch in the afternoon. Saturday, John's mother brought over our meal, salad, chicken a la king, and rolls. John has taught Sunday school and won't let me out of the house, so I've had to miss a lot. One morning he said he thought, "The poor girl looks like death itself." And yesterday when I was washing the kitchen floor, he said, "I'd rather do that. If you're going to expire, there must be a more exciting way to go." But I'm feeling better. John had his heart checkup Friday, and the electrocardiogram is the same. Status quo is the best we can hope for. I had him ask the heart specialist about you, and he said the terms were very loose medical language, but that it meant you had a condition probably resulting from when you had rheumatic fever. Did they say anything about Dad's cough, and does he have chest x-rays? He has smoked so much, and they definitely tie it to lung cancer now. Yes, Grandma and Grandpa Smallshaw lived quite long, yet Aunt Ethel didn't. John's Grandma Zook will be 90 years old in September. You've already lived longer than your mother. When I was so sick, I came to realize that death is not such a bad thing when one is ready. Rita Sesteric next door has had her mother dying of cancer all winter. Last September, they operated to cut the nerves to the brain, for the cancer had gone from her arm to her neck and up into her brain. What a winter the poor woman had. When it hit her brain, she really went insane, and it was a blessing when she died a few weeks ago. She was such a big, strong woman that she withstood what many would have succumbed to. She even had pneumonia and at one time was packed in ice to keep her temperature down. She was in a straitjacket the last while. It was so hard on her family, too. We're trying to sell the house ourselves to save the $1,100 commission, but there are now 11 houses for sale on the street. The first Sunday we had 6 in and thought the first people might buy it, but the lot was too narrow, 40 feet. Then 2 young couples didn't have enough money down. One couple came in a $3,000 car, only had $800 down. An older couple thought it too big and had 3 children. So it goes. Soon we'll own 2 houses. John's basement is just shining. He had Mark's Indian guides down there, 10 boys and 10 fathers. He said, "It just about broke my heart to see them messing it up." It was a muddy night, and the boys are Indians. I think John would have preferred them to wreck the upstairs living room and rug. He spent hours cleaning it up and waxing the bad spots on his paint. Now he's been painting up the tricycle for Patty's turn. She's starting to ride now, and Pam has her 2-wheeler. John took them downtown Saturday. They saw the huge Easter egg tree and had a slide and windmills, and John got bicycle repairs. Mark came in last week and announced he was going to a friend's house to play chess. He came back later to say it wasn't like checkers. John's mother taught him to play, and he can sometimes beat John and me. He was beaten twice in chess and said it was rather complicated. Mark has a good memory from me and my side, but he is more astute and more interested in many things like John and John's mother. He's interested in birds, coins, and rocks. John has a good coin collection and rock collection. Our new neighbor, John White's, is a geologist, so they have a lot in common, and spent the evening examining rocks. Mark is thrilled, of course, for he's always looking for ones that might have some unusual minerals in. For months I found a cup of creamy liquid in the refrigerator filled with rocks. I asked Mark if I could throw them out, but he put the stones in with the fish. The fish died the next day, the day before Christmas. The stones had had soap on them. Mark had won the fish-throwing ping-pong balls at the July 4th fair a year and a half ago. He went to a birthday party last week, and John said he came staggering and carrying all the prizes. He won a dart game and a huge plastic racing car. He'd pinned the tail on the donkey and guessed the beans in a jar, and also won a few free prizes. He takes after his dad there. John borrowed Dick Stevens' new station wagon and got one of Kent's love seats and a chair and delivered it to the house. Kent is giving them to us. John says they are white with a small embroidered flower. Of course, they are not new. It will take us a while to get the house furnished. It's English Tudor in architecture, and I'll have to figure out the style furnishings to go with it. The drapes in it are floral, but they'll have to do for a while. Also, the carpeting is gray beige. I think I'd like apricot or gold drapes. You may keep the slide of the children in their nightcaps and any of the slides of the house that you want, but I like the rest back, for I didn't think they were worth reprints, but thought you might like to see them. I'd also like the little sweater, dress, and christening gown that I sent Doris. I'll soon need those clothes again. Mark and John were looking over my old report cards, and I guess Mark thinks I was a real dumb one. He is only impressed with A's. Even I was surprised. I really thought my report cards were pretty good, but now they don't look so good. Today was such a frustrating day. Good thing I'd been reading St. Luke about Jesus in the wilderness. A couple phoned about 2 to 2:30 that they'd be out to see the house, so I hurried the children out and spruced up everything. The children took Patty on 4 trips to Wolf Road in the wagon. By 5 o'clock I gave up on them. John called and they said their daughter took sick. So it goes. John is at the Sunday school teachers meeting tonight. John won't let me do anything, so I got him to get me some library books. A year ago, Mr. Paris, the lawyer that died, recommended that I read The Story of Mary Lou by Hunter, An Age of Faith by Durant, so John brought them home today. I'd like the picture of Dale's family back. That was a year ago. Dan took the photo and I believe planned it, and Dale did the work. They only made $25 and cost them quite a bit. She said she'd have made you one if she thought you'd be interested, but I said I'd send ours. Dan is an architect and very artistic, but not too ambitious or industrious. I thought Dale's push would help him, but so far it hasn't worked out that way. The last she called was last fall. They'd bought a house, rather old and small, she said, but on a nice lot, and she said they planned to build another house in front of it, which sounds like an awful idea to me. Yes, our new house will be close to school, Kensington Elementary School, in a better school district, Rocky River, than Bay Village. Bay Village has expanded so fast, but Rocky River is more stable. Also, Mark and Pam will walk about a block and a half to school. Now they walk to Wolf Road and take the school bus. I weighed 128 pounds at the doctor's office. With 6 weeks to go, now I hope I can get some energy back before the baby comes so I can nurse it. One of my friends, my treasurer, has had terrible long labors and was so afraid. This 4th time she went to Dr. Taylor and was so thrilled that it was so different. He does help you get over the fear of it. I'm looking forward to the rest in the hospital. Patty will undoubtedly take a dim view of the baby. Pamela said she still remembers the present Patty brought her from the hospital and suggested this time I buy an umbrella for the new baby to bring home from the hospital for her this time. Not so dumb. Every night I rock Patty before she goes to bed. The other night she noticed my lap wasn't quite so comfortable. She sat up, patted my stomach, said, "Baby, yikes, big." Mark said, I don't think she's too smart. She doesn't talk very clearly for her age. John said, "With her it doesn't matter." She is very cute and just melts John when she kisses him. John's grandma Zook has had 5 new great-grandsons this winter. John says it sounds like another war. Dick and Joan had baby Michael in September. Then John's cousin Georgianne, a teacher, had a boy, Mark in January. Then Helen's son, Freddie, had their third son in California, and her other son, Stephen, had a boy in Europe, Greg. He's in the Army, Stephen. And Mark's godmother, Helen's daughter, Cynthia, adopted a boy a couple of weeks ago. John will take the children to visit Harold and Marge's summer camp in Maine. They can hardly wait until August. I doubt if I'll feel up to taking the two little ones. Darlene's two children are certainly far apart in age. Can you send me Flo's hospital address? What has been wrong? It will help when they have insulin by mouth in common use. The Academy Awards are on tonight. I must say good night. Love, Ruth. To be continued. Well, that concludes today's presentation. You might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History with Peter J. Ray at peterjray.com. So far, we've made 688 history videos in 7 areas: world history, American history, book reviews, poetic tours, Cleveland baseball, family history, and autobiography. There's a donate feature. You might consider making a donation so we can continue making these videos. If you live in Metro Manila, Philippines, and are looking for a high school, you might consider, Res Celeste Educational Center. Res Celeste is located on Allenby Street, also known as the Inclined Plane, in Barangay Maytunas, San Juan, Metro Manila, Philippines, not far from the corner of P. Guevara and Wilson Street. At Res Celeste, we specialize in helping young people who have had difficulty in the larger traditional high schools. At Res Celeste is more than a school, it's a warm and supportive community, and we strive to be creative and innovative. And the website is resceleste.education, RESALEST. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.